expenses. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1820. 855-325-1820. That's 855-325-1820. Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more. 800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. That's 800-240-4587.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no-obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. Call right now. 800-597-9323.
You're listening to Joco Community Radio.
Hello, Jobfather Nation. Mez and I are coming to you today with an exciting show as our Jobfather is currently serving at Meet the Recruiter event in Frisco, Texas at Stonebriar Church. But we are excited to be here as NTX Radio is a podcast collective and a radio proudly serving all of North Texas and can be heard all over the world on TuneIn Radio and on the NTX Radio app, as well as Android, Apple CarPlay, or just ask Alexa to play the NTX Radio. Can't say that loud.
I was going to say.
I had to say it quietly because I was going to have to shut her up on air. Check out our lineup and more at ntxradio.com. We thank our valued partners in helping us amplify the voices of North Texas. Be sure to connect with Todd Hurd and Associates, attorney at law, for your civil law needs at texasattorneylaw.com. We are so excited. Please join us today for an exciting show that is taking what we discussed, bottlenecks, to the next level. But Mez, before we jump in, let's bow our head for a quick word of prayer.
Absolutely.
And a couple quick updates. And then I am so excited to share what you have in store for us today. All right. Father God, we are just honored to be here. Thank you for bringing Mez onto the show today. We are going to have so much fun. Please keep Foster safe as he serves at Meet the Recruiter event, and help us to honor you and help provide great information to support the job seekers and job transition community, and bless them with opening amazing doors. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Now, Mez, I've got some exciting updates, but just random. I forgot to ask you about this. Do you have any random dad jokes or jokes that you want to throw out there?
I do. I had a coworker say this yesterday, and he's not the type of guy that normally throws out these random jokes, right? He's kind of like a Ben Stein type dry humor. So it really caught all of us off guard. But okay, here we go. So a priest, okay, hold on, let me get it right. Oh my gosh. I know the joke, but I need to get it in the right order. I do apologize. Like, this is not the joke. Okay.
It's okay. I'm laughing because I know, well, you want to deliver.
Right, exactly. Sorry.
Right. So better to do that
This is
than
on the
be
spot.
crazy.
Yeah. So a priest, a bishop, and a rabbit walk into the bar. What does the bartender say to the rabbit?
Hop on up.
No. He looks at him and is like, "Why are you here?" And the rabbit looks at the bartender and goes, "Oh, I'm a typo."
Oh,
get it?
Now that's a good one, Matt.
Get it?
Oh,
Rabbit,
gosh,
rabbi, yeah. Like, yeah.
Yep, I'm a typo.
Or autocorrect. I can't remember which one, but he told it better. But my dad joke right there.
That is hilarious.
Oh, wow.
No, that's a good one. Well, Mez, so excited you were here. We're gonna have a fun show. We last week we discussed some oh gosh, I can't remember what it was called. Bottlenecks. Sorry, Mez. For job seekers when it comes to understanding the other side of the desk, kind of what maybe recruiters and hiring leaders see, to give a little wisdom there. But Mez is helping to lead the charge for the perspective of the job seekers today. Yeah. So we're really excited. Mez is going to ask some exciting questions, and then both her and I are going to discuss that, which we really know will help job seekers, because we get lots of questions, right?
We do.
Mez, all the time. Yeah. Mez being on the show and serving in the job seeker community for so long, inundated with questions. Foster's inundated with questions. I'm blessed to get questions. So we've kind of gathered some of those up to help y'all. I do want to remind everybody that you can go to Foster's website real quick before we jump into this, and check out any job postings that he has available. Search for You Inc. Foster, as you know, day in and day out is out there networking and serving the community. So any donations to help keep the networking and the volunteer work that all of these individuals do to help connect businesses and candidates, as well as touch base with Foster. He also has recruitment services that he is actively working on, and he has some jobs posted on his website. Mez and I are super honored to be here. Don't forget to go to beaconoralspecialist.com. We are hiring for our revenue cycle management team. We have front office um, uh, specialists as well as surgical assistants nationwide, and we have all of our locations listed, including here in Texas. So take a look at that. Mez, do you have any other announcements you want to throw in?
No, I think we're good to go.
All right, girls. So go ahead. So walk us into this and start the process. We're excited that you're here to
Thank
help.
you so much, Dana. I'm very happy to be here. So when Bottlenecks came up last week, for everybody's little background, I am not a recruiter. I've never been a recruiter. I have been a job seeker, and I've been in my professional career for over 15 years. So around corporate, I should say. So when I hear about recruitment and all of this fun stuff, all this jazz, these jazz paws day in and day out that we do as job seekers, I like hearing the perspective from the recruiters. Obviously, that's the insight that we want to get. We want to hear from hiring managers. We want to hear from recruiters. But sometimes recruiters and HR personnel tend to be in their bubble, and they don't realize that we as job seekers, we understand their frustration to a point, but our frustration on the other side is just as bad. And if we can somehow bridge that gap with recruiters and job seekers, it would be absolutely amazing. So my first question to you, Dana, I think we talked about this a little bit last night, was how do you know as a job seeker, I get a random phone call from a recruiter, and let's just say for this exercise, this recruiter is legit. This is not a scam recruiter, because we will talk about that too, weeding out a scam versus an actual recruiter. So I get a call, and I'm this, you could tell it's a young person telling me about this technical position or telling me about this job. How, as a job seeker, do I know, one, this person is actually interested in me as a candidate, and two, what types of questions do I need to ask you if you were that recruiter to get that information out of you?
Yeah. You know, that is a awesome question. And you're right. Often as recruiters, we get so inundated with the pressures we have to fill these jobs and find great candidates that we forget about the perspective of the job seeker. So the first thing, I believe the first part of your question was, how do we know that this is, we know that it's a legit recruiter, but how do we know that they're familiar with the job? They know that they're really, truly recruiting for that specific role, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I want to make sure I kind of heard that correctly. So for that first part, and did you do me a favor? I just want to make sure the job seekers, in case someone just hopped in, I rephrased the question, but will you ask that first question one more time, just for the people that hopped in, and then I will give my answer.
Absolutely. So my question was, you get a phone call from a recruiter, and as a job seeker, how and what approach / what questions as a job seeker do I ask this recruiter to weed out the possibility, let me say that again. How, as a job seeker, do I ask certain questions to you as a recruiter on the phone to know that you are really interested in me as a candidate versus just trying to get information on marketing?
Perfect. Okay. So that's part one of the question. Love it. That's what I thought I heard. But this is a complex and important, very important subject. So first and foremost, as a job seeker, sometimes it can feel like Mez mentioned that people are calling and maybe they're just doing some research for the job, right? And they're not necessarily calling to screen you. And I've had, different calls as well where I'm like, are they really recruiting for this role? Are they truly calling to speak to me, or are they just trying to get information out of me? So, the first thing I like to do is kind of turn the questions around on the recruiter and just let them know, hey, thank you so much for reaching out, but I have a couple questions for you. So, how long has this role been open with your company? And you can ask how long they've been recruiting on it to kind of get a feel like, okay, how directly are they able to focus on it, right? Are they really talking to you about things that are important, or are they just digging to get
I like
information?
that.
Second, yeah, yeah. The second thing that I would do is ask what time frame they are looking to hire,
Hmm.
uh, to kind of find out, all right, are they serious?
Right.
How quickly are they looking to hire, right? And then, um, if they haven't shared the job description with you
Hmm.
and they're just want to have initial conversation, ask them. So, just to clarify, um, can you send me the job description so I'm able to share my experience as it relates? And then clarify the title and the core, I guess you could say, responsibility for the
Okay.
role. And then once they do that, take it one step further and ask them, why are you recruiting for this
Huh.
role? Okay. Why is this position open and what gaps is this role going to solve for your organization?
Okay. That's good. That's good, Dana. Also, how willing, in your professional opinion, are recruiters, whether they're doing something or not, whatever the goal is, how willing do you think they're able or wanting to answer those types of questions? Like for the first question, I love that, but how willing would a recruiter, if they're like legit trying to interview you on the phone, I'm guessing they're going to be more willing to share this type of information with the candidate. But what
Yes,
if they're just
yes.
like, okay, why is, like, they get paranoid, right? Like, why are they asking me this? Am I doing something wrong? And if they really are just using you as market, like, do you just kind of go black and white with that one?
Yeah, no, that is a phenomenal question. So, as a recruiter, if I truly have an important role I'm trying to work on and fix, I am going to be very willing to share this information because at the end of the day, I'm trying to find the candidate that meets these
Right.
requirements. And if a candidate has good questions, it tells me A, they're engaging in the process, and B, if I need to find some information out first before I send all of that, it opens the door for me to share that with them. But when I'm working on a real
Mm-hmm.
position, it doesn't bother me at all.
Gotcha.
Now, if it is more of a let me get out there and do some market research position,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, immediately my guard would probably go up and I would be a little frustrated they're asking all these questions because it's not a real job
Right.
and I'm just trying to get information. So when you don't have to ask every one of those questions, but if you maybe pick one or two of some of the things I shared, that should show you if the recruiter actually has that information and
Mm-hmm.
they're excited to share that with you. I'm going to be honest with you, Mez. When I'm recruiting, I typically share that information up front anyway.
Right.
When I like to call the candidate, thank them for their time, share with them, hey, we have this exciting full-time opportunity open for a QA specialist in our Dallas office.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the core functionality. That is typically how I start. But if the person calls you and they don't start with then that's when we would go into this, you know, this process. And when you ask those questions, if you do get pushback, that's a really, really solid red flag
Yeah.
of, okay,
Okay.
I'm not sure this is a real job. And of course, you're wanting to make sure that this is a recruiter and they do get jobs that they fill. So you don't want to burn bridges. You always want to ask in a respectful, polite way so that you can maintain those bridges. But at least kind of you have a more solidified understanding of what the true intentions
Right.
are, and then you can determine how much you want to share or what you want to talk about from there. So if they're open and they're excited to share that information and they're honest and transparent with you, awesome. Thumbs
Now
up.
that's
If they're
great.
unwilling to share, that means okay. guard what your time,
Yes.
guard what you're willing to share, make a decision on how much you are willing to invest in that call.
That's great. And just for everybody else's knowledge, Dana and Foster and I, we breathe this in and out, and we kind of sometimes we get, because we repeat ourselves too a lot. But a lot of times, recruiters and companies will do what's called I made up my own term for it, but I call it ghost listings. So there may or may not be a job that they'll have either their internal recruiters or their third-party recruiters, which I love third-party recruiters. So everybody that's paranoid about, oh, I'm a third party, don't worry. Most of them are legit. So that being said, but ghost jobs is basically getting a way for a company to get a feed or a insight on the market, mostly to do with salary ranges. So they'll have recruiters, Dana, you can jump in with this anytime you want to. Salary ranges is one of the things they always have their recruiters, especially their junior recruiters, go out there. They'll go out on LinkedIn and look up like mostly hired, or doesn't even matter if you're hired or not, but really, really experienced people. They'll call you and just they'll have this shell of a job that, like I said, may or may not even exist and may not be on their website. If it is on their website, it's a very generic kind of description of the job, and they're just trying to get information to get a feed on the market. So that's why we're saying this as a bottleneck, because if you are just laid off or you're just hitting the market, or you're a stay-at-home mom and now you want to go back into this market, you have to be aware of this stuff, because this is not something, unless you go through it, and time is money. That is your most valuable asset in all of this, in life in general. So if you know that this thing is a shell or a ghost job, don't waste your time. And that's why I asked that first question to Dana. So that's a little bit of a background of why I asked that question. So Dana, we have 5 more minutes before we get to our lovely guest, before our first break. So is there anything that you want to mention on sort of from the inside out to job seekers regarding either shell jobs, market research, how to weed out even scammers, or what not to do situations?
Yeah, Mez, that's such a valid point that you made. I'm so glad you brought this question to the table. What I would say is, and as I would consider myself a reputable
Yes.
recruiter, and I've always cared about what I do
Yes.
for a living, and trying to find that win-win situation for both the job seeker and the hiring leader. But I will say this: there are times where I might be doing a little research on a role, but I've always been very honest about that.
That's good.
And let's say, so I'll give an example of why something might be somewhat of a ghost job. There's maybe something going on with the company, and they might be realigning a certain department to try to be more effective in using the current talent they have, and then bringing in help where they're lacking what they need, right?
Yeah.
And so they're like, hey, we really aren't sure what to title this. We aren't sure what to do. Can you do a little research in the market? And in that case, I would actually share that with the job seeker. Hey, we may be in the near future hiring for this type of a position. So I'm having a proactive call to share a little bit of, to learn a little bit about this type of a role. And I would approach the job seeker as I guess you could say a SME, a subject matter expert, since they might have that experience, and approach the conversation that way. And being a SME and the company or the recruiter being very honest and open with you and putting you in the position of a SME might make it more exciting and enticing to speak about it, because you know exactly why you are, and you might end up being a candidate should they hire the position. Then it's like no time wasted off your back, because it could come to fruition.
Right.
But if a person just isn't willing to share that information, like Nez said, and mentioned that she's run into and other people have come to her, and they're not willing to really work with you and share with you, then it's probably not the most fruitful, integrity driven situation.
Right.
I would agree with Mez. There are a lot of good recruiters, both agency and internal,
Yes.
but you can kind of, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree, Mez? You
Absolutely.
can kind of tell by the transparency, style of
Yep.
communication, and the way the person talks to you and treats you on the phone, if it's something worth your time or not, right?
Absolutely. And a lot of times when they're doing this kind of like market research for either,
Yeah.
you'll tell, no offense to our young brand new graduates out there, but they'll put you up to this mostly, right? They'll put them on the phone and just like that'll be one of their,
Yeah.
or even an intern be like, hey, this is the type of person I want you to call. And that's the other thing. If they don't have a lot of details on the job, like it's a very generic title, like a project manager, and they can't even tell you the
Yeah.
industry, you know what I'm saying, that they're recruiting for. That's it. And like you could always tell they get nervous on the phone. Like, well, this is my first week, and that's when you know it's like, okay, hun, don't worry. So we don't want to scare them, but that's how you can normally
Yeah.
tell. Um,
Yeah, I agree. And you can guide them a little
yes,
bit if they do actually have a job and they're scared or nervous on the phone because they're a newer recruiter. You can kind of guide their conversation to benefit you as the job
yes,
seeker to verify, okay, confirm the title, confirm the core requirements, confirm the gap, and this is such an intelligent question to ask when you're in interviews. What is the gap that you're currently facing, that makes this role so important? That's
that's a
probably
good
one of the
one.
best questions.
I like that.
It really is, because let's face it, companies are hiring and they're willing to shell out money to pay you for a reason.
Yes,
Why? Because there's something that you're going to come in and do that is worth the money they're shelling out. Well, what is it? What is really the reason they need to hire
right.
your role? What is the gap and the challenges they're currently facing that you can, basically resolve? And as recruiters, we're trying to find the right candidates that will come in and resolve the issues that are currently taking place, or the gap in what we need in talent. And so that's like the most intelligent question. And if you can ask the recruiter those core questions, you should really get a good feel for this job, if it's real or not. And most integrity driven recruiters are going to share with you whether it's a real job, or if they need to talk to you as a subject matter expert because the job may come
Yeah.
available in the near future. And if you know that it may come available in the near future and they're being honest and reputable, it might be worth talking to them. But if they're not, you've got, money is time, time is money, like Mez said.
Yeah. And if you're an
Yeah.
experienced job seeker, or even if you have a job and you still get recruiter calls, it's just
Yeah.
fun to hear what's in the market, even if if they're honest upfront, get a handle for yourself, because that's just one, networking for you as either a job seeker or as an employed person. You still need to network. Don't forget, this doesn't go away. Corporate is not going away. So building those relationships, even if it is a call, that it's an intern, or it's a marketing thing that they're just trying to gather information. If it's 5 minutes of your life to make a good relationship or a good impression on somebody, that's a win, in my opinion. Dana, I
Yeah.
mean, tell me what, like, you've dealt with some mean people, I'm sure, like on the other end of that phone as a recruiter. I'm guaranteed it, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
what's the point of being mean? Even if, especially if you're honest with them, right, Dana? It's like, well, don't answer your phone call, I guess, right?
Yeah. You are hitting the nail on the head.
Hmm.
That is so true. So one of the things that can bottleneck your process as a job seeker and frustrate you, is feeling like you're not getting what you need on the other end of the phone.
Hmm.
But if you allow that chip on your shoulder to grow and you become, like Mez described, mean, maybe frustrated or short, or um, you're showing it through your communication, it can shut doors for
It
you,
can't. And it's a
especially,
small world in the
yeah,
recruitment, right? It is
it
such a small world. People, like, they use the fire out
is.
of these recruiters and HR personnel. For every, like, what, 100
Yes.
people, there's one recruiter. So think about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Yes. I mean, recruiters are working very long hours with pressures from all of their hiring leaders. We need people now. We need people now.
Yes.
Well, everybody needs someone now. I'm one person, but if and so that might give you an idea of why sometimes something that seems so simple to you might take a couple days for them to get back, because there could be dealing with, like, any given time, our recruiters have anywhere from probably 25 to almost 50 roles they're working on.
Right.
And at that given time, we have surgeons saying, we need people now, or we can't do these procedures, we can't do these surgeries. And so there's a lot of pressure. So a simple question could take a day or two because there's so much coming at them. But don't burn your back to the original questions. Regardless of how frustrated you are, don't burn bridges.
Don't burn bridges. All right, guys, we'll be back. Hang in there with us. We have a great guest coming up.
Woo!
Let's be honest, wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feather Chair Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your trunk, backseat, or closet, so you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours today and get a free wheelchair case, a $50 value, yours free. The Feather Chair, the world's lightest wheelchair, is just $4.99 with easy payments as low as $16 a month. Sorry, no Medicare or insurance accepted. So call right now to order yours.
800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. That's 800-823-5826.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581.
Joco Community Radio. Listen live at tunein.com.
Oh, crap, you guys can't see me. Hi.
Yeah, hey, Jobfather Nation. We are back and excited to be here. Just remember, we are proud to be a part of, Jobfather Nation is proud to be a part of NTX Radio, which is a radio and podcast collective proudly serving all of North Texas and can be heard all over the world on the TuneIn Radio and on the NTX Radio app. This app is on Android, Apple CarPlay, or you can just ask Alexa to play NTX Radio. Check out our lineup and more at ntxradio.com. We thank our value partners in helping us amplify the voices of North Texas. Be sure to connect with Todd Hurd and Associates, attorney at law for your civil law needs. TexasAttorneyLaw.com. Hey, and if you are needing help processing credit cards, you can join Swipe Nation. Call today and save on processing fees, or check it out at swipenationusa.com. Locally owned and operated. Meg,
Yes.
okay, we're excited back. We had a super productive first half, but I would love if you wouldn't mind introducing us to our guest and kicking it off.
Absolutely. So our guest today is Mr. Andy. I want to say your last name right. Reid, right? Reid.
That's right. Just like the Kansas City Chiefs guy.
Okay, so Mr. Andy Reid, he is
Kansas City.
Oh, boo. Anyway, the second half of wow, squirrel. Welcome to our lives, everybody. Andy, back to Andy. Focus. Here we go. He is an executive operations leader, so a strategic operations leader, and I'm going to let him kind of dive into that a little bit more. But welcome, Andy.
Thank you,
Tell us your story. The stage is yours.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me on your show. I'm sorry I had a little technical issue getting on, but it's good to finally hear you guys and be able to talk. But yeah, I'm a strategic operations leader. I have an extensive experience in coaching and mentoring and process improvement. So I have a passion for helping companies and organizations set and implement innovation and growth and transformation. So I love seeing driving the bottom line results in the end. So that's I come out of a nonprofit background. I've been working in a nonprofit world for about 30 years. And so making a change and excited about the next steps and where the Lord takes me next.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. Andy, so kind of coming into your next step and what you're looking for, what type of job titles would best define what you're looking for and your skill sets, passions, to help listeners from businesses all over learn more about you, in addition to the amazing things that you just shared you bring to the table?
Sure. Director of operations is probably one of the key roles that I've been looking at, where I've managed large teams. I've done a lot of work with budgeting and strategic planning. So director of operations roles. I've also been looking for executive director type of roles. I have an extensive background in fundraising and team building and training and doing performance evaluations and things like that. So, and then I've also just been looking at training and development manager roles as well. So I've got a lot of experience in training and coaching and mentoring, as well as leadership development.
Absolutely. Nice. Would you say when it comes to operations, is it general business operations, sales operations, more operations on the finance accounting side? What would you say is your niche, your preferences, and or what you're open
Yeah,
to?
absolutely. I would say it's more the general director of operations type of role, because coming out of the nonprofit world, I'm a jack of all trades in many ways. I've done a lot of time with budgets and funding, but I've also done a lot of HR and hiring and firing and working in training. My roles are vast, and probably the favorite of my roles is developing people and using my leadership to help them be the best they can be in their role.
Nice. What industries did you mentioned nonprofit, but what types of industries did you work in primarily?
Well, so I've been working in an organization called Young Life. So it's a nonprofit Christian outreach to high school, middle school, special needs kids. So it's a vast array of the field. I've worked in different roles within that, from being an area director that oversees a small area to a metro director who oversees a city. Nice. And I came from Ohio here to Dallas about 3.5 years ago.
Oh.
And so just have been, growing in my knowledge of this area and the different pace of life.
We're a different beast, aren't we?
Yeah. Yes.
We are definitely a different animal.
but it's been really great. And so I'm excited about, the next steps and landing in the role that's going to be the best for me.
Nice. So what does that look like? You mentioned you just moved down here. So do you want to stay here in Dallas area?
Yes, I think we love Texas. We love everything Texas, and we've really enjoyed the people, like y'all who do a great service for folks like me trying to find a job. And I've enjoyed the people that I've gotten to work with, and of course I've been with Foster over at South Lake, and it's just been a great pleasure to meet people and network with people like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to stay. We'd love to stay within the DFW and somewhere in the Metroplex. We're not too picky on where that's at, but wide open to the possibilities that are out there.
Awesome. Well, let me ask you this, because we just talked about a really important thing that job seekers want to know. And what I would love to ask you is when it comes to operations and people, the two areas that you have expressed are your cup of tea and passion. What gaps or problems do you solve for organizations?
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, every area that I've gotten to serve in in Young Life, in the different jobs and roles that I've had, has always had issues. Lots of times it's been with finance, because in the nonprofit world, that's always a hurdle you have to figure out. So I've been good at networking and fundraising, because I get to go in front of donors and share a story and the mission and how their funding will be used, and get them to buy in, so to speak, to a big vision and something that produces a great result in the end, with kids in Young Life at least coming to know the Lord. So that there's that big vision of not just one high school where I was working, but really like a big area where we were in multiple high schools and thousands of kids being impacted, as opposed to just a few. So that was one of the hurdles. And, I think it's always the other challenge in nonprofit is finding volunteers and, finding the right staff people, always a challenge. So I was able to come up with some systems to help us find the right people and hire the right people for the positions that we had available, as well as vetting good volunteers and making sure that we were not, a lot of times it's easy to take what comes your way as opposed to setting the bar a little higher. And so
there we go. Oh, can I get an amen?
Yeah, we set a high bar and had a great time developing our staff and our volunteers.
No, you're awesome. That's amazing, because a lot of times we get job seekers that no fault of their own. I was one of them, just kind of panicky. Like, it reminds people of like a twitchy chihuahua. So it's nice that you're coming on this show, this platform, and going, I have my standards, which is so important. Dana, one of these days I want to have somebody on that's like a super high executive person that comes on the show. Is like, I want to be a circus performer, like completely off the wall stuff. That'd be so much fun. That would be so much fun. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, I've never had a desire for the circus.
No, I know.
But, I did my share of clowning around, you could say.
Yeah. That was good.
We got a friend. We got a friend here.
Absolutely.
Andy, fantastic. So I don't think we've had somebody in like executive operations manager in not only nonprofit, but working with high school students. So do you want to continue to work with, I'm guessing it's more of a social service aspect. Do you want to stick in that realm, almost like social services?
I would say if the job's right. However, like a lot of the people that I've worked with over the years are now people that are in the business world. A lot of the kids I've worked with, I've watched grown up and they're now in their 20s and 30s. So like, I feel like my audience has actually grown up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited about the opportunity to step out of some of the things that I used to do and move into a brand new chapter.
Kind of learn new things, to expand the experience you already have in operations and people management and coaching and mentoring to kind of take them to the next step. And also, I guess you could say, provide new challenges for growth for you as well, it sounds like.
So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
No, go ahead,
absolutely.
Andy.
You know, like I want to do something with excellence, and I want to grow in what I get to do.
Yeah.
And you know, I after 30 years in a mission, you feel like you reach the ceiling at some point.
Right.
It makes sense.
So I'm excited about the opportunity to grow and do something really impactful within a business, perhaps, or you know, I'm excited to see what that is, because I feel like what I've learned can transfer over quite well into the for-profit sector too.
Right.
Andy,
absolutely.
Can I play a little game with you, Danny? We can play around with me.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Guys. Come on.
We're gonna play a little game. So,
Okay.
with that being said, we haven't had a guest like you in I don't think a long time, if ever. So I'm like super excited to do this exercise.
Okay.
So let's pretend we are in this magical fairy tale land and money doesn't matter. There is no restrictions on location, time, nothing, right? And you decide to make a business. What would your ideal business be? And describe it as best you can. What would you want to service? What would your product be if you made something?
Yeah, I think if I was developing a product, I would want it to be something that's useful for every person, like not just one people group, but a vast array of people.
Like a toothbrush, everybody needs it, right?
Yeah, you know, something like that. Yeah, but I'd want also the opportunity to have a team and develop a team around me of like-minded folks that we're pursuing the same goals and objectives.
Yeah.
And we're providing something that not only helps us to grow and do something that is a great mission or significant, but it's also able to help other people's lives be better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So
Man,
I don't know
that's a
if I
good
hope that
question.
answers the question.
That's a good question, because I think about things I love and what I love to do, and I don't know, it'd have to be something that would combine animals, beaches, and I know, like personal coaching. You know what I'm saying? And
I do.
maybe something to encourage and build people and reduce anxiety and stress from a Christian standpoint.
Yes.
Oh my God, you guys are way too holier than thou for me right now. Like I am just not a good person, apparently.
Well, I just mean like there's certain principles I would bring to the table to help people mentally and emotionally and physically. Like I like the whole concept of a makeover, but we need to be near a beach, and there needs to be like cat and dog yoga and all that kind of stuff.
I'm with you.
I would add too that, like, Mez, if I could, that like I'm also a coach, and so like I love coaching people and helping. You know, right now I'm a swim coach, and
awesome.
You know, I love being able to take somebody who can't do it to somebody who learns how to do a couple laps after some time.
Wait a minute, I got a question for you. What part of the Metroplex are you in right now?
Yes.
So I'm over in Lake Highlands.
Okay.
On the east side here.
Yeah, that's a nice area. It's near White Rock Lake, kind of.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not far.
It's Dallas, White Rock Lake area. They're not far. It's kind of where
Yes.
you go through before you get to White Rock. Question, because I have a good friend whose daughter is super passionate about swimming, and she's on club team. She's competing. She didn't make the high school team this year, but is working really hard at it. What kind of swimming do you like have certain events that you coach for? I'm not a as well versed in swimming as you could, like different types of strokes, different type of competitions, length of the swim, or
yeah, we can dive into this conversation. I would say my expertise is, I'm a really good sprint coach. So the short distances in swimming, and butterfly are probably my best background. But I've coached a high school team before where, I was coaching distance swimmers and all types of different strokes in that. From the novice to the kids who were making a state swimming.
Yeah.
So I love just helping kids get to that level. High school swimming here in Texas is a little bit different from Ohio.
Is it really?
Yeah, the season here is much longer.
Oh yeah, that's Texas.
Ohio only goes about 3 months, and they go almost 6 months here for high school.
Baseball. Anybody here in baseball, like out there in the baseball here is literally year round as far as like training and everything. I mean, swimming does not surprise me. In Texas, it is just doesn't matter what sport. It's basically year round because you have off season, you have this, you have that. But that actually brings up a good point. Just Dana, that question about swimming. Job seekers out there, listen to me. Talk to people when you network. Talk about your personal stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because you never know when you're going to make a connection like this, and you don't know what that connection is going to lead into.
Yeah.
I've trained horses in the past. I knit. I crochet. Yeah, I've trained horses like when I was a kid all the way through high school. But yeah, just those little details, you never know who you're going to meet, right? And you never know who those connections are. But Andy, you sound like such a fun guy to be in such a like stiff executive type role. Like I don't, I don't picture that's awesome, right? Like for a companies out there that are listening, and we are literally the largest job search network in the world. Holla. Anyway, so Andy is a laid back coach, passionate about what he does. He has his standards. He's not bougie, but he has his standards. So
there you go.
Recognize. But you better hire this man because honestly, I'm trying to think what companies are open. Do you know about our executive group that meets, I believe, every Monday? It's hosted by Foster and I think it's Foster that still hosts it. But if you don't have that contact, then
I need to probably grab that one from him.
Okay. Yeah.
But I was going to say, Andy, being in operations is such a challenging role because you have a lot of accountability, you have a lot of moving pieces. So organization, project management skills, but then your ability to relate and communicate with stakeholders, which brings out that other side of your personality where it sounds like you're passionate about helping people along the way. And as leaders in operations, you deal with a lot of people. You've got to keep stakeholders apprised, people motivated and managed. I can see that your personality would lend really well to that. And any individual hiring in a business operations capacity would be remiss if they didn't reach out to you. And I can see in an operations environment, because you have so many moving pieces and you have a lot of accountability, why it would be important to mentor, train, and motivate those around you so that you can achieve those goals. So a large part of what I do in leadership for recruitment is recruitment operations and how that impacts our relationships and our ability to fill positions quickly at our practices nationwide. So I can see, Andy, that you would be an asset to any organization. And Foster, Mez just brought this up. Not only are we the largest job help group, but we bring amazing individuals like Andy on the show. And Foster is really big on vetting and making sure he's choosing the right type of talent to represent, because we've got some phenomenal people just like Andy himself in the Job Seeker Network. And B, we are passionate about getting the word out on these amazing individuals, because when you're part of an organization and you're trying to hire, it can get daunting and overwhelming with resumes. But when you have a chance like this to really observe someone in their element, it puts a whole new light on why someone is a great hire, why they are qualified, why they would resolve issues and bridge gaps if they were to come into your organization.
Absolutely. That's we vet everybody, guys. So we're not just bringing randos on the show. It's like, oh, he's good. Bring him on the show. What's your name? Okay, fine. Step on up. No, we don't do that. So he has the Foster stamp of approval, Dana's stamp of approval, my stamp of approval. Absolutely. But that made me think about something, and I just lost it. Ahead,
no,
Dana.
it's okay. I was going to say, Andy, so as we're getting close to, the end of the second half, definitely want you to have the stage to share anything else in your background, anything else about you or what you're looking for that would help our decision makers and leaders that watch this show see how phenomenal you are. So is there anything else, Andy, that you would like to share or communicate while you have a few minutes towards the end of the show?
Well, I think coming out of the nonprofit world like I did, one thing I do really well is I know no matter what job I take that I'm a man under authority. So I'm always loving working with my bosses and listening and measuring feedback and input. And I say I have a high level of ethics since I come from a nonprofit background, and I love working hard. So that's what I'm really excited about landing the job is just I'm going to go at it, and I'm a competitor. That's my swimming background. I love to compete and be the best, and I want to do that in the next position I take in, so that whatever company it is, we're going to go and be the best and in whatever we do. So that's a few things about me. I'm very dedicated. I'm very a loyal person. So I love to solve problems. And what's that?
You don't job hop.
Yeah, I'm looking for something that I can stay in for a long time. And so I'm people oriented. So I want to just have a role in helping others be the best, and grow.
Sense.
And, in my last job, this might be the last thing I can say, but the last job I had when I was in Cleveland, I actually trained a guy to take my job.
Really?
And, yeah. And that was fun. It was one of the kids I knew that he grew up in what I was doing in young life. And then after college, he was interested in being a staff guy. So I trained him to take my job in Cleveland.
Oh, wow.
It was one of the best things that I got to do along the way, is see a guy just take a role that I had. And he's still there to this day.
Really?
Yeah.
What a wonderful feeling to know that you've impacted someone's life like that.
It's a pleasure, and I think that's part of the fun of working too, is you get the opportunity to grow people, and who knows, maybe they can replace you at some point in that job too.
Oh yeah, I love that feeling, knowing, like, passing that legacy down. That it's like, please do my job so I don't have to do it anymore. Like, I've been there. Seriously, I'm like, yes, you want to be trained? Let's go. Because certain jobs suit you at certain ages, like you mentioned, right? Like you were like very happy to pass down this role because you know what, you're at a different stage in your life, and that's fine. You know what?
Well,
like
I mean, what company wouldn't want that, where it's a seamless transition? And you're getting somebody who's as good or better than the person.
And you're not bitter. Right? Like you're not bitter.
Exactly.
Like trading this person, you're like, you did it wrong. Like, no, like you're like, okay, this is the way you do it. You're not gonna like, oh, I did not tell you about that server. I meant to tell you about that server.
Well, I think it says something, Andy, that you do like to invest and develop people. You know, a lot of individuals might be really good at what they do operationally, but it doesn't mean that they are leaders. And so you've got like the perfect mix. So
Oh, I
everybody
hear
hire
music.
Andy.
Have a great weekend. See us next week.
Yes,
Thank you,
thank you,
everybody.
Andy. We're
Yeah,
so
thank you.
excited to see where you land.
Good meeting you, Dan and Miss.
Joco Community Radio. Attention all business owners and creative minds. Do you need a unique and personalized touch for your products? Look no further than Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs.